Well, good evening once again, and welcome to the Ref's Opinion. This is the show where we break down incidents from various matches over the last week or so, from controversial calls to the ones that maybe flew under the radar. This is where we give a referee's perspective on moments everybody is talking about, and believe me, there are plenty. Were the officials right or did they get it wrong? So, without further ado, let's dive into what happened last week. But first of all, let me say to you out there watching, if you'd like to make a comment or you'd like to contribute to the show, you're more than welcome to. There's a little thing down there on the right-hand side of your screen. You should have it. You can send in a comment or you can ask a question about anything that happened last week or in previous weeks as well. Delighted to be joined once again by my regular guest, my friend and colleague from the UK, former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL. Those are the guys who look after match officials in the Premier League and in the Championship, which is the second tier, and also the man responsible for introducing goal line technology, Keith Hackett, who was on a bit of a sabbatical last week, but I'm glad to say he's back again now. Good evening, Keith, and welcome to the show. Thank you.
Delighted to be back.
Thanks, Keith. Last week we were discussing, and there's been lots and lots and lots of reaction to it. And there was an incident in last week's game between Manchester City and Arsenal. The referee was Anthony Taylor. There was a coming together between, was it Martinelli? I can't think of the Arsenal player, and Haaland, where there were like two mountain goats, heads together, and then the Arsenal player did move his head forward. Many people said it should have been a red card. Other people were arguing, saying, no, it wasn't that serious. It wasn't like that kind of a headbutt, that it was just a rubbing of heads together. Did you see the game, and what do you think?
I saw the game. My first comment is that footballers play with the feet and the head, and the target is the ball. It's not your opponent. Initially, when two players put their heads, as they did, forehead to forehead, touching, then I'm seeing that as a minimum yellow card. Then the forward movement of the player down the face of his opponent with a bit of strength, with a bit of power, that for me is not acceptable in football. And the yellow now has turned to red. So I'm clear. I know there's lots of arguments, people saying it's not violent conduct because I suspect the opponent still was on his feet, Haaland. Let me just remind you that striking or attempting to strike an opponent is a send-off offence. This, for me, is unacceptable in football. It undermines the game, and I cannot believe that there are people who don't see that as a red. It's a red card. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. I said it at the time. I've said it in the media. So it's red. And you know, are we to say that if a player is not injured, that's okay? No.
Yeah, no, you're 100%. It says striking or attempting to strike, and even kicking or attempting to kick. But Keith, just what's your opinion on Anthony Taylor? Not on Anthony Taylor, but on his decision not to award a red card. Do you think he might have been under pressure because of the importance of the game or the teams involved? I regularly tell my referees, you are not to consider in any way, shape, or form the importance of the game, the importance of the players playing, or the occasion. You see an incident, you act on it. It doesn't matter if it's a World Cup final.
I think that, overall, overall, Anthony Taylor, I think, had a good game. If you're going to issue a red card, you want to see it. And sometimes as referees, we're looking at feet and waist down and not the whole body. So for me, I think Anthony Taylor's not got on this one the ideal view. Therefore, I think the VAR should have come in. And I think on that, had Anthony Taylor gone and seen the monitor, I don't think he can come away and not give a red card. Now, it doesn't matter which particular game you're officiating. The importance of officiating a match is that you're even-handed, whatever the game is.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm wondering, and people have asked me, what would he have been influenced by the occasion? Because it was literally a top of the table clash, where City, if they won, and they did win, went level almost with Arsenal. I think there was only a goal difference just between them. So, but do you think, was he influenced by the occasion, by the importance of the occasion, or not?
Well, I mean, what we are talking about England's number one referee here, and he is on. He's going to the World Cup with Michael Oliver. So I'm thinking they're joint one in terms of position. I think they both had good seasons. From I think Taylor's perspective, I think he does prepare thoroughly. I think he went out with the mindset, I'm going to start with 11 and I'm going to finish with 11. And I'm going to allow a bit of tolerance.
Is that a good, if he did go with that, is that a good attitude to start with? I've started with 11, I'm going to finish with 11. He's almost putting himself under pressure then not to issue a red card.
Yeah. Referees need to be selfish. Who is the one that's suffering when they don't apply the law correctly? The referee. So in that situation, I felt that, I would have liked the VAR to have come in strongly on that one, and for Taylor to see it from different angles, because I've seen it from different angles. And yes, it does look, if you're looking down the shoulder of the player, the two players, you haven't got the view that we've got from a side-on view. How often do we talk in refereeing about viewing angle, position, viewing angle? So for me, Taylor is a referee who does not hesitate in sanctioning players. He's not liberal. He's quite tight in his law application. And I think this is why FIFA like him, because he's consistent around caution and red card offences. So I was surprised. I mean, I came away and had a second look because I thought my instant was red card. And then I had a second look because I'm thinking, this is Taylor. We have got VAR. I'm afforded a second look. And when I had the second look, I've gone, well, I thought it was red. Now I know it's red.
Okay. And just apologies to viewers because there is very bad atmospherics and sometimes it's cutting in and cutting out. So do bear with us on that. And apologies to Keith also, as I may be cutting across him because of the way the thing is. Another issue, Keith, the Crystal Palace Liverpool game, where the goalkeeper, the Liverpool goalkeeper, went down, and I'm going to put it in inverted commas, injured, where he was lying on the ground and he was screaming and he hurt his knee. Meantime, he's out of his penalty. Was he out of his penalty? He was way out of his goal anyway.
He was out in the goal area, yeah.
Yeah, and but Andy Madley did not stop the game. The referee, he allowed play to continue, and Munoz, I think, was the Palace player. He the old story, you play to the whistle, and he didn't hear a whistle, so he kept playing, and he chipped the ball over the goalkeeper's head, and the goal stood. Everybody was waiting for it to be disallowed because the goalkeeper's injured, and there are cases when obviously you cannot play without a goalkeeper. But did you see the incident, and would you have done the same?
No, I think that this is safety first refereeing. This is about looking after me, the referee, in a selfish manner. I think ultimately at the end of the day, the goalkeeper's down. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not a doctor. He's down injured. I've got to stop the game. Particularly, it's the goalkeeper. And I felt that an experienced referee like Madley, and he is experienced, should have stopped the game. And I think that, he's put himself in the firing line. The goalkeeper is down. He's not able to defend his goal. I can go back to basics, can't I, in terms of the team. Will consist of 11 players, one of whom should be a goalkeeper. I just think that common sense, safety officiating, the referee's left with no other option, in my opinion, stop the game. Now, we know, and we've discussed on this show, the tactical ramifications of what is taking place in our game currently. We saw it in the Chelsea-Leeds game. Leeds building momentum, clearly gaining pace, trying to get back that equaliser. Goalkeeper of Chelsea instructed to go down. And we have the messing around with the two guys and the goalkeeper who's not injured. And that becomes a tactical break, not even a water break for some. The FAB have got to do something about it. But I would have blown the whistle. I wouldn't have allowed the goal to have counted.
I must say that was my immediate reaction as well, based on the law 3 number of players that says 11 players, one of whom must be the goalkeeper, and he wears a different color shirt to distinguish him from the rest, and all that story. But you have to have a goalkeeper. Anybody else lying injured or injured, inverted commas, because there's such an awful lot of cheating. And I mean, there's no other word for it. Blatant cheating that's going on at the moment with outfield players. No. But with a goalkeeper, I think it's a different story. It's a 50-50, Keith. I don't know if you noticed, not long after, that keeper was suddenly miraculously cured and was able to kick the ball and so on and so on. So on that side, and this is a whole open debate, and I want you guys out there to get involved in this. What do you think? If you were the referee, would you have allowed the goal? Because he was fine afterwards. So it was maybe Andy Madley was right. But at the time, you're taking a chance. You don't have a goalkeeper, so you can't really play without a goalkeeper. But he allowed the play to continue.
Well, interestingly, in that same game, you might touch on it, Andy Madley awarded a penalty kick to Liverpool after what he thought was a foul on Mo Salah. Fortunately, the VAR, having looked at the replays, was clear that this was a clear and obvious error, brought Madley to the screen, and the penalty kick was overturned. What disappointed me at that time was that you could see on the replays that this was a clear act of simulation, and it deceived the referee. And I just think that referees have got to get a bit tougher on this and issue the yellow card. I think I love to watch Mo Salah play. I think he's a great player, and he'll be missed next year. just for the entertainment value. But he
Yeah.
has got this streak. He did dive. He should have received a yellow card. And until referees take action, we're going to see this growing, if you like, dark side of the game continue, with players deceiving the referee, making the life of referees very, very difficult.
Yeah, because it's one of two things. It's either a penalty kick or it's a free kick to the defending team for simulation, and the simulator should get booked. But why are
Yes.
you know, it's a rhetorical question, but why are referees not cautioning players for diving? And you know, similar to the goalkeepers that are now only 8 seconds to take a goal kick.
Yeah.
They're only allowed 8 seconds, and they're keeping within that 8 seconds because they know they'll be penalized. And likewise, if you book and caution players for simulation, that would soon stop as well. So, I mean, the referees just need to be stronger, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
You're watching The Ref's Opinion. We do go out every Monday night, at 8 p.m. UK Irish time, and where we discuss all things referees and refereeing and decisions and penalty kicks and God knows what else. If you'd like to take part in the show, you can do so. Ask a question or make a comment. There's a little part down there on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You should be able to get it and send in your comments. And delighted again to be joined by my friend and colleague, Keith Hackett from the UK. Keith, I read last week that we had, you know, this new thing about offside that Arsene Wenger, the former Arsenal manager, came up with. And then with the new offside, now there has to be clear daylight between the attacker and the defender, or the defender and the attacker. Clear daylight for a guy to be offside. And the first goal that was allowed with the new system, and it's been tried in the Canadian League, happened last week. I don't know if you read about that or heard about that.
Yeah, I did. I did. I'm watching it very closely. I think that what Wenger is trying to do is give the benefit of doubt to the forward, in order to enhance and increase the opportunity to score, rather than using the law on offside, which is currently written, as a defense mechanism. And we do see some really good efforts, good goals ruled out with a toenail offside. And I don't think the technology that is being used, I've said this before, is good enough, accurate enough to give us a toenail offside. And therefore, I think, let us see how it runs. I think they'll probably extend that experiment because they'll want to use it in a top league in Europe at some point to have another test to see whether, in fact, it's worth this major change to the offside law.
Okay, so let me put the cat among the pigeons now. We're talking with the current way. Forget about the Canadian one. The current way is effectively a toenail. You know, it really. So can it not still be a toenail, but on the other side, where the guy is ahead, but he might just be a toenail on the side? So are we going to have the same problem there?
I think we are. I mean, I think that whichever way we talk it, I think it puts strain on the match officials. You know, what I really want to see is what we achieve with goal line technology, and that is technology that is accurate on offside decisions, that mean that the match officials on the field of play and in the VAR room don't have to worry about the decision, because the system gives a simple offside and nothing else. As the same way in goal line technology, it's a goal or nothing else. And that's what the aim should be. And we need technology to be able to achieve that. Otherwise, you're right. We're going to be arguing the other way next year or whenever this change takes place.
Yeah. Another very good incident in the Fulham Aston Villa game, where a goal was disallowed, but again, the referee had to go to VAR, where the goalkeeper, the Villa goalkeeper, was being interfered with by a Fulham player who was holding him off, and yet another player, colleague, came and scored, and that goal was disallowed. This is where VAR really needs to and does work very, very effectively. But I noticed in the papers recently that they wanted to bring in VAR into the Championship, and to my knowledge, most, if not all, of the Championship teams voted against it. They don't want VAR.
Yeah. And of course, the out of that, then the EFL have said that VAR will not be introduced, either VAR Light or VAR, because, you know, anybody in England that watches football and watches the Premier League, I don't think there's anybody in the game, even if it's a referee or a VAR operator, can be happy with what is happening, because I think it's impacting on the game more often than not in a negative manner rather than the positive manner. You know, we've had over 50 errors this season today, VAR errors ratified by this independent panel. I mean, that's 50 major incidents. Is it a penalty? Is it a goal? You know, is it a send-off? We know the criteria for the VAR. You know, this weekend, I don't know if you were watching the game involving West Ham Everton, because we had a player, defender, with both arms around the chest of his opponent, and as the ball comes within a few millimeters of the attacker who's facing the ball, the defender flips it with his hands. It's a clear handball. The referee hasn't got a chance of seeing it. VAR, it's very clear. And he then says, the statement comes out, it's not a penalty kick, it's accidental. You know, the movement of the hand to ball is very clear. And I you know, it's back to the whole thing in terms of VAR not working. And that is, I want to see VAR specialists, and I want to see accountability, and I want to see them properly trained, you know, to cope with the stress of the job. I watched it several times because I'm thinking, have I seen something wrong? Because instantly I've gone, it's handball. So for me, I don't think that VAR operator has filled himself with glory this season. It's not the first time referee Salisbury has been in the VAR room and not made a happy life for himself.
Why do you think they're getting it wrong, Keith? Why are they? I mean, if they're on the field of play themselves, refereeing the match, they'll see it. They'll see it from a particular angle. Fine, okay. But then when they have all this technology that literally almost you and I have sitting at home watching TV, we can see it from several different angles, and that's assists them to assist the referee in making the right decision, and still they're getting it wrong.
Well, the thing that I think the problem here is the VAR protocol says very clearly it's the referee's final decision. So if the inspection is, you know, this is a dodgy situation in terms of did he handle it, didn't he handle it, or whatever, surely in that situation, VAR says to the match referee, come across, mate, have a look at it, because it looks a tight situation. And I just think that if Andy Madley had come across and seen that incident, or it's played on the big screen inside the stadium, I don't know how they can actually say it's accidental, and it's not handball. I mean, it's handball. The movement of the hand is to the ball.
Yeah, and it's a simple criteria because the original was the movement of the hand or arm towards the ball, not the ball towards the hand. Then they brought in all these other things, making the body bigger and
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
If,
I mean, there's there's no question that there's too much subjectivity around that particular law.
Yeah.
They've not improved it. They've made it more difficult.
Yeah.
Even to the fact, I just still can't get over the fact that an accidental handball, the ball striking the hand or arm, goes into the back of the net, is not a goal. Why? Because he's struck the player. He's not handled it deliberately. They're saying he doesn't have to handle it deliberately. They're saying if it hits the hand or arm and it goes into goal, it's no goal. That's the law. And I'm going, where's the common sense in that? Why have you brought that in?
Yeah, Law 18, common sense. Here's a comment from Tommy. Tommy Breen is a regular contributor. And he says, as always, a great show, gentlemen. Thank you, Tommy. Please spread the gospel. Have the Premier League games, on average, been poor? Is this because of too much football for players, new type of strategy for teams, the manager? And then he cites the Leeds versus the Chelsea game, FA Cup semi-final, was a drab affair. So your question is, has the Premier League become poor? What do you think, Keith?
I think that running through the game at the highest level, the Premier League, is the word fear. Fear of losing. We're seeing managers getting fired. We're getting managers fired in the job for weeks, not months, weeks.
Yeah, like Chelsea recently. Yes, it was only 5 games. Away with
I mean, what impact can you have on an organization that's huge in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or 3 months? And I think this fear of losing is creating a negative aspect of the game. I think that grappling is negative to the game. I think that players cheating by acts of simulation is negative to the game. I think referees and the standard of refereeing with the majority of referees in that group is not what it should be. Lack of authority. Sometimes I'm not questioning effort. I'm just saying what interpretation of law are they applying, because what they're applying at times is different to what I read in a referee's chart. Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, the life for the referee is much more difficult than it used to be. Minimum 22 cameras, the game played at speed. That is the reason I stood up at a meeting of the Premier League clubs and said, we need to go professional. The only reason behind that is to prepare, review, and improve. And I don't think any of us involved in refereeing can be comfortable with some of the decision making and the quality of decision making that we're seeing. And I have no chip on my shoulder. I work closely with a couple of, well, more than two, younger referees coming through the system, and they're applying themselves 100%. And I'm having the pleasure of reading their performance reports, and they're remarkable. So I do think that there are some really good referees in the wings. I think I've mentioned Farah Halam, Thomas Kirk, the Smith brothers, one of the Smiths. So I do think these referees need to be brought onto this list. And you know, I'm coming from a sales background. When my sales team didn't secure the turnover that the board of directors required, they were given operational advice. They were given as much training as possible to improve them. And if they didn't improve, they're out of work. And I think there needs to be a little degree of honesty in that sphere.
Just a final comment from Tommy. He reckons, he asks, are the referees afraid? It's a difficult watch this year. It's more exciting when a team breaks fully the charge of the Light Brigade. Yeah, well, I don't know if they're afraid, Tommy. Only they could tell you that, but certainly they don't seem to be as strong or as authoritative as they have been in the past. Many thanks for your comments, Tommy, and many thanks to you, Keith. We've run out of time. We'll do it all again next week. Thank you for your time. Thank you out there for watching. And until next Monday, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thanks, Keith.